Hi everyone. I'm excited about the live today because I'm looking at today we're exploring the major arcana. Now, I did say that I had a bit of a slight, you know, penchant for the minor arcana, but the major arcana by no means is any less than the minor arcana. If anything, like I said in my minor arcana video, all of the suits kind of connected, and this in the major arcana, the way it's different is what they usually call is the fool's journey. So you have zero, actually, I was going to say one, zero, which is the fool, all the way to card 21, which is the world. So if you count all that, it makes 22 cards. So it is truly what they call the fool's journey. What I like to call and to compare it to is our life journey, right? Fool's journey meaning some people can have like a connect that to something negative. But when we start out with something, or when we're learning, like we decide that, okay, I'm going to learn to do this, kind of like I started out, doing my videos here and trying all this on YouTube. So I started out not really knowing anything from scratch. But I just decided to do it, and I'm kind of learning and all that kind of good juju. So I'm going to show you the Fool card, and the decks I'm going to be using today is the Light Seer, Light Seer Tarot deck, which is absolutely gorgeous. You guys, it was my very first love deck. I shared it with you guys on the video that we explored the tarot deck. So here's the Fool's card, and as you can see, there's a sense of like no stress, kind of unaware. There's an ignorance in there, but also an innocence, and a sense of allowing and starting a journey. And so I love this card, and I love how there's a big aspect of unknown as well, but leaning in and trusting the journey. I love the Fool, the very, very first card of the Major Arcana. So just wanted to share that a little bit. I'm not going to share every card with you today, but it's kind of appropriate to share number one or the zero card of the Major Arcana. So the other deck I'm going to be using is, I have the box actually, is the Everyday Tarot here from, give me a moment. Yes, oh, so it was from Biddy Tarot that I heard about this because I'm doing the Biddy Tarot certification at the moment. And so when I heard that Bridget had a deck out, I'm like, okay, I'm going to get the deck, and I did not regret it at all. I love this deck. So the Everyday Tarot, if for any of you that would like something that gets to the heart, keeps things simple, a lot more concise as a deck. All right, so let's show you something. Okay, so journey, getting sidetracked. Journey in the Major Arcana. So the Major Arcana, let's say the first card, okay, to the number 7 card, the Chariot. Okay, now if we look at the Major Arcana, like I said, there's 1 to 22. So we have 1 to 7, which are kind of individual figures that are looked at. So let me just read them to you. So we start with the Fool, then we have the Magician, the High Priestess, the Empress, the Emperor, the Hierophant, the Lovers, and the Chariot. Now they're all they play their own role. I'm not going to show all of them to you, but I will show you, let's see. Let me show you the Emperor, the ultimate healthy masculine, okay? So I'm going to show you the Everyday Tarot Emperor. And this one is number 4. Beautiful card. There's a lot of wisdom. There's power, but it's not, lording over power. It's not, I've got you. I like this card. I just have to show you from the Light Seer deck. I love how natural the power comes off this emperor in the light seer deck, and how there's just so much, the full moon meaning uh, abundance of, you know, just the power is there in the word I'm looking for. What's the word I'm looking for? Oh yes. So there's an abundance of uh, balance. Can we call it that? Abundance of balance? But there's like a steadfastness. There you go. Being grounded, being completely reliable. Ah, there you go. So I love the Emperor for that. Now, if we go to the Chariot, now the Chariot is an interesting card because it can be like there can be like a conflict, if I can say, in this card. I like this one as well. You can see how the both, I think they're sphinxes. They're facing two different directions. There's the person on the chariot, which represents us, right? We're the one that's on the journey, and there's like several possibilities. The city is on one side, right? City's on the other side. Where do we go, right? And so if you look at the light seer, the guys on the chariot is, you know, the horses are kind of running and, you know, so where do we go? So there's a choice in this card, but also, you know, listening and trusting the instinct and what is best for us. Okay, so without getting too much into that card, we will get into the cards a bit more as I go along in my live series in the next 2 weeks. So 1 to 7 are kind of like figures that will be in our life, that will be our teachers, that will, it can be people, it can be things that we've learned through ourselves, right, that we've had to go through. But usually they're connected to different people that have had, you know, there's the magician who is a little bit smoke and mirrors and it's not the most clear, but sometimes we need to figure things out on our own and we need things to be unclear. So we look inside ourselves for the answers, right? Then we have the high priestess who is the embodied feminine, the very nurturing, but also firm and, you know, has a very strong, steady presence. But then you have the Empress who is full of like all that nurturing motherly love. And, you know, she's in the picture, if you'll see here, the Empress has a baby bump. Okay, she's the ultimate abundance and everything spirituality, nurturing, motherly. So then we looked at the emperor already. Then we have the Hierophant, who is the teacher. You've got, you know, in this one, the Hierophant has two, if you see two students sitting there and he's teaching, there's possibility of being religious teaching, but I don't connect religion to it. I really connect it to our learning and having that person in our life that's a bit more of a teacher. And then we have the lovers. The lovers can be with someone, but more often than not, it's us with ourselves. Are we our ultimate lover, or do we love ourselves in the way that is truly we really need, you know? And then we have the chariot, like I said, the choices between do I choose to trust myself and look for my answers inside, or do I look for my answers on the outside and scramble a little bit? So that's the first part of the major arcana. Now we jump into the second part, and I took way longer than I wanted to on the first part. Second part is a little bit more, okay, I've had these people teaching me stuff. Let's kind of figure it out a little bit. So you have strength, right? Oh, I've discovered my strength. It's inside of myself. No one can give me the strength. No one can be my strength. I have my own strength, right? And coming into that. And then you have the hermit of, okay, well, I need to take a step back and absorb everything that I've learned and all these people that have been in my life to guide me. And then we have the wheel. Now the wheel is kind of like a beautiful, like kind of coming of and having like it's almost like a time doesn't really count in this one. And I say it doesn't really count because let me give you an idea, okay? All right. So in this one, in the Everyday Tarot deck, you see that there's several figures, right? The animals they're representing, but I really like the wheel in this one because it kind of gives a timeless quality, right? There's the yin and the yang, kind of, the masculine, feminine, finding our balance and kind of having that connecting with our more fearful, vulnerable side and with our light and having and allowing and enjoying the process. So that's for the wheel. Then justice, I think it's a little bit more explanatory, our sense of justice and our sense of integrity, right? Then we have the hanged man. Now the hanged man is interesting because there's either are we getting in our own way, or are we trusting without having to know ahead of time what will happen, right? Trusting ourselves. So the hanged man can be a few things. Then we have death and rebirth. Now, death can be, people can see it like a whoa, but it's not necessarily a bad thing, because when we let go of what doesn't serve us anymore, death is a really good, I love death, the death card, okay? And in the Light Seer deck, there's almost like an element of, there's a death but rebirth, right? So I love this one. And then we have temperance. Temperance being the balance and finding, once again, I find it connects really well to the wheel. But this one is, truly ourselves, and kind of coming to the close of the second part of the journey in the Major Arcana. So then we, without making this video too long, we have the devil, which, you go from the balance, the finding the beautiful flow and temperance, and then the devil. Now the devil represents temptation. This one really represents it well, the chain that's around our neck, but look how it's not that tight. We can actually take it off. Letting go of the things that no longer serve us, not letting temptation or emotions, not becoming the emotion and not letting the comfortable or the comfort zone make our choices for us, right? Then we have the tower. Now, the tower is another one that shakes everything up. And if you look at this, I love the Light Seer one. I already had planned on using the Light Seer one for this one. The tower. Now, there's so much going on, but then if you look around the squirrel, it's kind of almost like he's in the eye of the storm, if you'd like. There's a element of a lot of chaos going on, but where's the safe space? The safe space is where the squirrel is, where we are, right? And so finding yes, that there will be chaos, and yes, there's uncertainty and everything's kind of blurry, but if we truly look inwards, once again, we will find not only our stability and our safety, but we will find our answers. So the star, the next card, we're at number 17, by the way. The star is one of my favorite cards, and it's really well represented in the Everyday Tarot, where she has a foot in the water, in the emotions, right? And on the earth, on the ground, grounded herself. There's flow in both. There's a lot of promise and hope, and a lot of trusting oneself and looking for, a little bit of here and a little bit of there. And anyway, like I said, I'm not going to get too much into the cards, but this is a really beautiful card. Then we have the moon. Now the moon is one that I really connect with so very much. And the moon is, I like, once again, the Everyday Tarot for this. You have the wolf on both sides. We all have like the light side of ourselves and the more vulnerable, fearful side of ourselves, right? And then you have the moon that is just as powerful as the sun. And you have, the both sides, and then you have the water at the bottom. So there's a lot of flow, energy, emotion, but in a healthy way, right? If we allow it to be healthy. right? If we want it to be, because we're much more used to our shadows than we are of our light. Then the sun. The sun is my favorite card of the whole tarot deck. It has represented my journey as a tarot reader, a tarot advisor. From the beginning, I have related to the sun card, and it is one of the most beautiful cards of the Light Seer deck. A lot of allowing, a lot of flow, a lot of connecting with the source and just with myself. It's just so beautiful, this card. So that's number 19. Then we have Judgment. We are getting to the end of our journey. You saw in the star, the moon, and the sun, we're getting all the elements and everything that was kind of coming together. And in Judgment, okay, taking a step back, how has my journey been? How has it come together? And have I reached the point that I want to reach? So if you see here, look at all the beauty inside. Look at what the journey has truly given and allowed the person to evolve, because you have allowed yourself to evolve, right? So this is one of the really beautiful cards to pull. And then the World, the last card, number 21 of the deck. Really beautiful card. I love how, once again, the Light Seer, you have the circle that is the constant cycle, and then you have the person in the middle that is the focus, and there's balance, and there's light, and there's a little bit of darkness too, but it's okay. And it's the ultimate coming of the ultimate. But see, what's beautiful is you have the circle, which the cycle brings us back to the Fool, and we continue our journey. So I love the Major Arcana. We just went through the different steps and the different parts of this journey. Once again, so the third part, I didn't mention this, but the third part starts with the Devil, right? After the temperance, the balance, the flow, things got shook up a little bit with the Devil. And so number 15 to number 21 is the last and third part of the Major Arcana. So that was the Major Arcana. If ever you have any questions or would like to ask me any questions, I have, I don't think you can ask questions on my video afterwards, but if you can, someone mentioned that to me. So I do have a Darkness and Light Tarot on Instagram, on TikTok. I am April Kelly on Facebook. I am also Darkness and Light on Tarot on Pinterest. And yeah, you can find me at all those places. So if anyone has questions, don't hesitate. Thank you for joining me. And I hope that you love the journey of the Major Arcana. Take care.